not budgeted? Can you look in
I
there?
think I talked to George.
One of them. They sent you.
What's the difference?
They sent you an email. Well, they sent me an email to give to all of y'all.
Okay.
So it's in there, and it just says that it's your request. And when I got the request and I read it, it said that we could talk to versus Texas Historical Commission says we can't use money that's already set aside, but this is still money that we have to spend, and this is still money for the courthouse. And Ross advised us to contact our bond election attorney to see if funds could be taken out of there to upkeep the courthouse and to be able to pay for this. So I did. I contacted Mr. Paulin, and that's the resolution that's in here. He's the one that actually, where it says consideration and action on a resolution expressing intent to reimburse expenditures to be incurred by Karnes County. Mr. Paulin gave me that language to be able to use this money to be able to upkeep the courthouse and be able to hire somebody. And it's going to be in an email form. You're going to see it from Tom to me. And it's going to actually have a bits and pieces of that resolution on there. We have to give the resolution a number. And in my infinite wisdom, I've been numbering the resolutions by the day we have Commissioner's Court, because that way, when I call Carol, I can tell her it's the day we had court, and we're making sense with each other. So, Mr. Paulin actually sent me, from Bickerstaff, Heath and Delgado, who did our bonds, sent me the whole package for us to be able to use these funds to be able to meet courthouse requirements. And that would be the way to be able to fund this project, which is upkeep of the courthouse and paying Severe's Day bill.
And what cost?
What do you mean at what cost?
What cost will they charge us?
At what cost will they charge us?
Bonds.
We already have them. I mean, it's what we voted on.
We haven't both. We haven't sold.
We haven't, yeah, right, we haven't, but
We haven't
that's,
sold bonds. We'd have to sell some bonds.
Yeah, and you'd have to have them created in terms of legal fees and cost to create bonds.
and we're gonna have to do that anyway, Betty. I mean,
The whole thing?
no, but you don't have to sell the whole thing. That's not the.
The voters approved $4 million for bonds, and we can sell $250,000 worth. I don't know exactly what amount, but we have to have some amount.
We have to do the inspection for the courthouse, keep the stucco up and make sure the rain's not coming in to be able to keep it insured, and we have to keep it insured. And so to be able to do all this without figuring how to get the money, but we have to keep the courthouse insured, or we're gonna lose our insurance, and we can't do that building on it.
How much money you're talking about?
We're looking at probably cashing in, what do you think, Pete?
Well,
250,000,
I mean,
300,000
just
bonds?
Until I get some figures from someone, I'd say $250,000 to be sure we have enough to. In other words, $250,000 you're paying 4% on it. Not an exorbitant amount, but it would last us 2 years to do whatever repair we had to do, to pay Ms. Daly, to pay whatever expenses come along with this. I don't know whether that's the right amount or whether what amount we can sell, what's the least amount of bonds that we can sell. But I would say $250,000 worth. You can sell a $100,000 bond, you know, if it comes just to that amount.
That's a very small fraction of $4 million, isn't it?
Yeah, and legal fees usually are a percentage of the total amount, like $4 million.
But, yeah, the total amount is $4 million.
Yeah, the legal fees, the bond, the issues of the bond, the legal fees are usually a percentage of the total amount voted for. So they're gonna charge us for the, if we only want $250,000, they're gonna charge us the same amount as they charge us for the $4 million.
So you're saying it's better just do the $4 million all at once?
That's what they're gonna do.
So you do some instead of paying lawyers' fees twice? Is that what your point is? Is that what your point is?
Insurance.
Are you saying that, we're gonna pay the full amount for the fees, and then we sell the rest of the bonds, we're gonna pay the full amount for selling those again?
No, but you're gonna pay the full amount, she issued for $250,000, which was $4 million. They bid that on they had figured hired on an underwriting fee basis, and the underwriting fee is what they charge for.
But from a dollar standpoint, why would we want to pay out all our attorney or issue all the bonds at one time when we may not be using all that money for 2 years and being paying
That's
interest
why
on
I think
it.
that's fine that
We'd
we
be paying
put lawyers to
4%,
work.
correct, on 4 million or what? 4% on 4 million.
Or 4% on 250,000. Why would we want to issue the full dollar amount
I
and be
agree
paying
with you.
interest?
I agree with that, Luana.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, their underwriting fee though is gonna have to be the same for whichever one it is. Does that have to be the same amount of work for the 250 or 4 million?
It's the same thing.
So in other words, as a fictitious amount, let's say their underwriting fee is 10%. We'd be paying 10% on 4 million out of that 250,000, so we wouldn't really garner $250,000 cash.
You need to take a look at.
So we probably need to
Know what the underwriting fee is
find out
gonna be.
exactly what fees will be, how they will,
Yeah.
Correct.
how they will charge.
So that
us,
we
what
can
have to
net
Start with.
the dollar amount
how much
we
have to
need.
set.
Correct.
Right.
All right, what I would suggest that we, do you all agree this is the right way to fund this, what we have to fund? We have bonds.
Sounds right to me.
All right,
And
so,
it's a resolution to reimburse, and we can have that wiggle worm in there to ask how much we need.
Keith, what you're saying, you're gonna add the fees to the 250,000, make it a little more, so you net the whole 250,000.
If that 250,000 is the amount y'all want to net.
I can get some closer estimates and see if the 250,000 will cover the fees and enough to take care of the courthouse repairs. As soon as I get some better figures. So we'll see what that amount has to be, whether it's 250,000 or 300,000, whatever. So I think we either table this or we are in agreement that this is the right way to go.
We're in agreement. Can we approve it today and then put the language in the wiggle room later? Does it matter? Can we get it approved today or
I
no?
don't see how you can, because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what denomination's gonna be selling. You can sell it all or just part of it. I think you need to wait.
But I guess my question is, why would we wait when we have that wiggle room to be able to take out all we can?
Right, and
I mean, because we're gonna have to start paying.
we really don't know what we need anyway. I mean, there's no way of knowing what it's gonna cost to fix the roof
I mean,
and whatever you said.
can't we pass the resolution and determine how much we need?
I think you're pretty accurate, Pete, actually.
I mean, it's a reimbursement resolution.
Is it on the agenda, by the way?
Yes, sir. It says consideration and action on a resolution expressing intent to reimburse expenditures to be incurred by Karnes County, Texas. So can
You
we
don't know
pa-
the amount, what you need.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty
You really need to have that in there.
Well, can't we have the amount, can't we come back and do that? So we can go ahead, we're gonna have to start paying this daily. We're
You
gonna
have
have
to
to
do
start
it in
keeping up
another
with
meeting
everybody
anyway.
else.
Didn't you include that in your motion to pass the resolution contingent on the amount to be determined by March 14th or March 31st or whatever?
Because when Ms. Daly leaves, she's leaving with all this paperwork in her hand.
I think that you need to wait and do it when you got it all. If you have to call a special meeting, so be it.
Why put it on the agenda, let's put it on the table.
Let's do it. Can we do it contingent
Has
upon?
the Texas Historical
I think
Commission
so.
okayed you to repair the roof? That's before you get ahead and get the money.
We have to, we don't have a choice.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but they own it, I think.
If you don't get their permission, and it doesn't meet the specifications of the Texas Historical Commission, when the courthouse goes into renovation, you're gonna have to do that roof all over again.
Well, and we might have to do that roof all over again, but right now, we have to keep insurance because we just spent $900,000
I
of money.
understand, but what I'm saying is, if you're gonna do it now, at least do it under the specification of the Texas Historical Commission.
Exactly, I think you're right, Mr. Yarder, and they will work
But
together.
that's not what you're saying.
But right now, we're looking at funding. We're looking at funding, and we're gonna have to get with the historical commission, or Lorraine can get with them, or somebody can get with them. And where we always get confused is we leave these 5 people up here, and we end up out there, and we're confused by the time we go home. So let's just stay where we're at. So we either want to consider an act upon the resolution, and he, if I remember right, when we called Tom, he said that we could pass the resolution and then use what we needed. Did he not say that, or did he say that?
That's what I understood him to say.
That's what I understood him to say. So if we pass the resolution, and I wrongfully passed the resolution, then I called him, I said, Tom, I made a mistake. Can I, yes, can I redo this? And I don't think he's gonna tell me no.
just have to rescind the previous resolution.
Yes, then we just rescind it, right? Correct? I mean, but let's move forward instead of just sitting here digging a rut.
Thank you.
So, I make a motion that we act upon the resolution expressing intent to reimburse expenditures to be incurred by Karnes County, Texas.
Thanks, second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Was there any opposition? No, okay. Guys, if I mess it up, I'll call Tom and I'll figure it out. We'll get that number and we'll fix it. Is that okay? Is that okay by y'all?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that okay if I made that mistake? Thank you. Number 17 is discuss, approve, disapprove hiring an engineer in accordance with Professional Services Procurement Act. That's Pete. Look, there's gonna be something in your package that's gonna look like this now. And it's gonna say ACEC Texas on top. And then I have a little deal that I wanna show y'all that we went out and we found. I guess in better language, Mr. Quintanilla found us. He roamed in here, and we were having geotechnical, geophysical issues. And we were talking about hiring a geotechnical engineer, which had not been done. Pete, go ahead. Let me let you do this.
All right, what we, y'all know the contract with MJ Law requested that we hire an engineer, named the engineer, suggested we hire a certain person. We rejected it here in court last time, Chester Thrash or whatever it was.
Chester Drash.
Okay, so, anyway, we look, this is pulled up in your file there, and it says testing and inspections, and who's gonna hire this, and who's gonna hire that, what you're responsible for, and the county is, and you can read all through it, and it probably takes a lawyer to figure out which word overrides the other one, who's gonna pay for it. Karnes County is gonna have to hire somebody. All right, so we had Gary Quintanilla contacted us, or did we?
He wandered in here.
Came in here. Anyway,
He was looking at the proposed jail site.
they are a company that tests and they have quite a range of qualifications.
I have a book for y'all.
They do environmental and soil testing and whatever. So anyway, Mr. Quintanilla came in and proposed that, said that he could be. Was there anyone else that came in?
No.
All right, so, in talking to him, I felt like that he could do a job for us, and he felt that he shouldn't take the $4,500 that was requested for testing this. So, I suggest that,
But he also defined it to us that there's a two-step process, that they were supposed to provide us with their qualification, and then we were supposed to go with the fair bid. Is that correct? With the engineer that's on the part?
yes, in other words, qualifications are set up and how you're supposed to hire them. And I haven't, but anyway, if we have no one else, I would suggest we hire Mr. Quintanilla. What he told me.
Is that a motion, Pete?
I'll make a motion that we hire ACDC. American Council of Engineering Company in Texas.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-1. There's no opposition. Carol, that's, the name of the company is TSI Laboratories. And the gentleman's name is Mr. Quintanilla. I can't remember. Chris Quintanilla?
Gary Quintanilla.
Gary Quintanilla.
How do you spell
Number 18 is discuss, approve, disapprove purchase of an in-ground scale for the weigh station from P&S Scale Company in the amount of $32,160. This money has been previously budgeted for the weigh station, and that's Pete. There's a copy of the bill for the weigh station in here for you guys. It shows us the bill. And it's already budgeted, so I don't think, is there anything else left to say except we have to get it through court?
We just gotta get it through court. Also, we all attended a pre-con meeting, Pierce,
out here when they started working on 123, 181. We got with Jeffrey, Hunter Industries, everybody. We're on page. We ordered the scale as of the other day, I guess Monday, a week ago. It takes 5 weeks to get here, right on time with the construction of 123, 181 red light. And I believe we got Jeffrey here. They got a bunch of material out there on one road. He's gonna be hauling it in for us. Got an electrical box. And Commissioner Yar been there. He's spearheading it. Pierce is helping him to do this because he's had more experience with weigh houses and stuff like this in his years with DPS, license and weight. So pretty much everything will be done between Pete, Pierce, and Jeffrey on this.
And yesterday, we did get an email from Paul, that they're starting that construction. I called you. They're starting to put up the concrete poles, but we're gonna have stoplights now. That's gonna be nice. You'll actually be able to use 123. Anyway, Pete or Pierce, did you get with him? Will you please call him and show him where we want to set everything and do everything, so we'll get our preview part of that construction?
All right.
Well, I make a motion that we,
Next week, the man from the scale coming in, Dennis Shaw, is coming down to mark off the spot where it's going, the scale should be. And we're gonna have to dig a hole in drain pipe.
Okay.
good.
Everybody's on page.
Everybody's on page.
We're good.
We're good.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
I make a motion, we approve the purchase of the in-ground scale for the weigh station from P&S Scale Company Incorporated in the amount of $32,160. This money has been previously budgeted for the weigh station.
I second it.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No opposition? 5-0. Motion carries. Yes, ma'am?
Who seconded? I heard two and I didn't know who got first.
Carl, man, you're a little bit quicker.
Okay, we're gonna go to number 22 real quick. Number 22 is discuss, approve, disapprove the recommendation from the jail architect as submitted by the jail review committee. And, go ahead.
We had a meeting the other day with the jail committee right here. It's me, Commissioner Yar, Judge Shaw, Beto Martinez, who was out with USDA, who's pretty much ramrod that's overseeing all this, and me. And we went through and discussed at length for several hours. We came up with one, and it's going to be daily spare construction. And so this is pretty much what we went through. Presentation, just like y'all did a while ago, which is unbeknownst to me. When I seen her here this morning, I thought that she was here on this thing, but I did not know she was putting her application. I think James, he seemed pretty good. He recommended her for this too. So she's very capable of what she's doing. She's very hands-on, and some of this stuff, that 3D digitals. And I've talked to other sheriffs and jails. I had a real lengthy discussion with, here we go again, Randy Brown over in Hondo. He's been very satisfied with that jail for many years, and I mean, it was on the cutting edge 10 or 15 years ago. So
we're gonna be even more on the cutting edge.
that's what I keep saying, Carl, 21st century. So that's,
Just for y'all's information, the ones the group of us we discussed the other day were Gondek, Kenny Burns, and Danny Spears.
They were the top three.
That's the three that we consider Danny Spears.
unanimous. All right?
So I make a motion, I can't approve it. I was on the committee. I can't make a motion. What do I do?
I'll make it up. You make it, I'll second it.
Okay, I'll make it. What is it,
Number
okay,
22.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for the jail architect as submitted by the jail review committee, which is Davey.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, Pete, thank you. Today's ACOG day. Pete said it's ACOG to me. Carol and I've got trial after lunch, and I know you need to go. Is there something you need to do before you go?
Is there anything else here that?
Is there a number that you specifically want to look at before you go? Is there something I need to do before you go?
No, well, I was gonna get a cost on waiting for all here, so I got a few more minutes.
10 after 10.
10 after 10. I'll stay here another 10, 15 minutes.
Hey, Jeffrey, there was something Jeffrey needed to go somewhere. Where are you, Jeff? Don't leave me, Jeff. Ask for favors and run out the door. Did you leave, Sheriff?
No, here's the water.
Jeff, I know that you said you needed to go somewhere too. You have a meeting. Is there something, what specific number can you tell me that?
On the road closure on 19.
Okay, number 19. Okay, that's discuss, approve, disapprove closing of County Road 150, and that's Nancy and Betty. Betty, you want to explain that to us, or Nancy, or one of y'all?
Good morning.
Good morning, Betty.
This was done, the road was closed back in 1960. It's been closed in since then, since the 1960s. And so it's been returned to its natural state. It's just a matter of formality. Technically, it was on the agenda twice back in '08. And then after Nova died, it got set aside and the survey was done. So for 150, it's been shut down for over 40 years.
And what was your question about that, Jeff?
I just wanted to know which part of the 150 they were going to close. But it's closed already, right?
Yeah, it's closed already.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's been closed for over 50 years.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Yeah.
returning it to the ownership.
The people, okay.
I make a motion. It was abandoned.
It was abandoned, okay, okay. That's all the question was about.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve closing of County Road 150.
I second that motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
That's right, that's right. Yes, and, Jeff, are you done?
I think so.
Okay, and then I've got to move on to, Bert. Can,
That 150 is in 3 sections.
Yeah.
the abandoned part, I think we said an abandoned part of 150? Is it all abandoned?
Ms. Chester.
We do have a section 150A, 150B, and 150C that we just recently renamed last year. It was already, I mean, I don't know which section we're talking about.
We're not talking about any of those. Those are all still viable roads.
So you, do you still word it with 150?
The abandoned part of 150, not to include 150A, B, or C?
Thank
Right.
you.
Can we say the abandoned, can we amend that to
Correct.
say the abandoned part of 150, not to include A, B, or C?
Correct.
We have a
Ms. Yarder, this
I have
is,
a survey attached to it, where it's actually been surveyed off, so they can see that it's not any of those.
Okay.
That'll show what we're actually closing.
Yeah.
I've looked at it, forgot to.
That was one of the things that held it up, was getting a survey on it.
Ms. Yarder, this is to the west of Highway 181, that 150.
Yeah, but it comes in off, what's it, county road, is it 209? 2509. It's the old section that used to come in on 509.
Okay, so before we go forward, should we say to amend, not to include A, B, 150, A, B, or C? Is that what your concern is,
I don't think you
Sharon?
need to, Judge.
We don't need to
Said
do
we
that.
don't need to do
They
that.
have a survey.
That's the survey.
I
Yeah,
have a
but
survey.
Requested.
Okay.
According
We
to
can
that
say it's worth-
survey.
Yeah,
That you have.
Okay, but I don't want to confuse Carol either, because we keep jumping back and forth here. And if we're going to say according to a survey, will you give her a copy of that survey? Can we get a
I'll
copy
give
of
her a
that?
copy of the survey, I've got a copy of it with me.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So do you want to
Can you
leave
say
out?
please see attached?
I can, but do you want to leave out the part about the A, B, and C and just say in accordance with the survey?
Is that what we're saying, guys? In accordance with
Yep.
the survey? All right. Okay.
Barbara, can we do number 10, because those documents need to go out FedEx by 11?
Okay, number 10, and then I gotta get Bert out of here. Okay, number 10 is discuss, approve, disapprove insurance renewals for auto liability, general liability, public official liability, law enforcement liability, and auto physical damage to authorize the county judge to execute renewal application documents, and that's Luana. Is this just general Luana?
This is just formality. We aren't
Okay.
changing any of our coverages. I just need your signature on the
I'll do it so you get it out by 11.
application.
I make a motion that we approve the insurance renewals for auto liability, general liability, public officials liability, law enforcement liability, and auto physical damage, and authorize the county judge to execute renewal application documents.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Any opposed? 4-0. I lost one. Okay, we're at the one right here.
You second that right now?
It's leaky here. It's your birthday, Tracy? I was gonna say you got free something somewhere, but since Luana's determined you're not quite telling the truth. I think John got killed on this 92. All right, the next one, let's go to number 6 on the agenda. That's Mr. Utley, presentation on behalf of the Taxpayers Association regarding Vice Commissioner presentation in Precinct 1. Go ahead, Bert. So I just got to note this, because I know you had to leave too. I'm sorry, everybody's going to leave.
Oh, that's okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank y'all for having me. I'd like to say, first of all, I'm a member of the Karnes County Association. You will hear some of us talk today, not for sure all of us, but we just wanted people that had concerns in our precinct. I would ask Judge Shaw that we follow Robert's Rules of Order and not be interrupted until our entirety is finished, unless you think we're out of order, which you would surely have the right to stop us from saying anything.
The only problem we have there, Mr. Utley, is we haven't adopted Robert's Rules of Order in the courtroom, but you do have 30 minutes, and we'll give you an uninterrupted 30 minutes with your taxpayer people or whatever it is you're doing.
Right. I do have a doctor's appointment with orthopedic neurology surgeon. I've been
I
waiting for
got
2 months.
I'm sorry.
And so I'll try to get
you go as fast as you can.
Sure, I will. We're a member of the Karnes County Taxpayers Association. We were formed to bring 2 or 3 things. First of all, to bring responsible and open court to this community, responsible taxpayer spending, and report to citizens on public officials that we feel were inadequate. We have seen many good things out of the new court that has entered, and we're really happy with it, especially the new deputies we're going to get on board, and highly support that. We have a present court with 2 new commissioners and a judge. One thing we don't like in the community, we feel that y'all are trying to be held as a scapegoat because the courthouse did not get grants, and that's further from the truth as can be. You went by all your procedures. You had approval by the Texas Historical Commission to extend it. It was not your fault that you couldn't get out of the courthouse. You went through your process, and you felt that we should have a bond election, and voters, not like prior courts, should have the responsibility of voting. The Texas Historical Commission approved this. We were promised in this community by some here and there that we would get $5 million in grants. The grants are not there. We wish they were. And I'm not demeaning anyone in this local community. There were some that are very passionate about what they do, and I respect that. But we felt that they knew all along that you weren't going to get it. They hold their jobs by how many projects they have going. When we get the grants, we don't know. But a lot of people vote in this community feeling that we would get those grants. I would ask you to be very cautious about using the money until we get the grants. Forward on, I became involved in county government approximately 3.5 years ago when I found out we were going to have an annex. And there were many people in this community felt that there were many other alternatives we could do besides spending $2.8 million for that annex. That's when we formed the association. The first thing we did was go out and get 750 to 780 voters' signatures against the annex within about 8 days. We said, well, this should be enough to start. I talked to Judge Kendall, said, well, to get on the agenda, you need to talk to your commissioner. I called Mr. Hummel, and I had met Carl a couple times before. This is okay, he's a good guy. He'll get us on the agenda. He told me he would. 5 days later, I showed up to the court, and I wasn't on the agenda. Well, I was somewhat irritated. And if you want to check this out, you can go to the minutes at the time. You'll see that I did object, and no one said anything about this. Judge Kendall vowed it would not go over $2.8 million. It's now over $5 million, the annex that is. Carl, you voted for every one of these. You voted for all the tax increases that's come along. We just kind of wonder if you're, what your agenda is. The annex was shoved down the taxpayer's throat without a bond election. We feel Carl is biased and not been a good representative for our precinct. I'd like to present some of the reasons we feel this is this way. First, Carl, you voted for every single taxpayer increase without question. I'm not going to go on this later, but your conduct has been bad in many cases when you and your nephew were booked on assault against your brother and a female, kind of an overmatched match, and maybe Maurice can expound on that a little bit, why it did not go forward. You voted against the bond election on the courthouse when we felt we could get a bond election and let the people decide. You felt you knew more about it than the people, and you would not let your voters vote on it. The bond election did pass, but it did not pass in your precinct, and you still voted to go forward with it. Just kind of wonder who you represent, your precinct or what your particular agenda is. Philip, I know you're pressed in time too. I'd like to bring you up just a minute to talk about the county road if you'd like to. Since you're on the Philip's one of our members.
Now, I am gonna ask that y'all stay with the bias part, okay?
Okay.
That's the part on the agenda.
Okay.
Stay with anything
We will
you
do
think is
that.
biased.
We will do that.
My name is Philip Bush, and I've lived in Choate for about 30 years. And I'd like to talk to you about the County Commissioner Precinct 1, Mr. Carl Hummel, and the conditions of our road and the lack of maintenance of them. In a past meeting, I believe it was on September the 20th, 2011, Commissioners Court meeting, we addressed the court about Road Commissioner Weatrick plowing up County Road, previously paved County Road 127, and we had no warning, or we're not asked any questions about whether how we wanted our roads taken care of. And there was phone calls to the commissioner trying to get him to stop the destruction of the road, and it fell on deaf ears. In fact, he made it very clear that he is not involved in road decisions in our precinct. And he emphasized the fact that he was not going to micromanage the road commissioner or the roads in our precinct. And he has held true to his word. In fact, he doesn't manage at all. We have not seen him or heard from him since this time. We have had, as far as I know, we have had one maintainer on our roads in the past 5 months. And I'd like to thank the countywide for keeping us abreast of what our commissioner is doing, because we don't see him or hear from him. We have roads out in our area that my neighbors can't get to their house without a four-wheel drive vehicle. That sounds low. We've had no more than a half-inch of rain at a time, and we're having to use four-wheel drive vehicles to get to and from their homes. The County Road 127 is still unpaved, and we haven't heard absolutely nothing of our complaints on the meeting of September 20, 2011. It's like out of sight, out of mind. We came and complained, and now they think we're just, they don't have to do anything about it. But we still want our road paved. We don't want that slick caliche like they've put on other roads in our area that you can't drive on when it rains. And we're still waiting for more structure on the road commissioner's duties. Since Mr. Hummel is involved in all the above, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to check out the qualifications of his opponents. And I'd like to thank the court for taking the time to listen to my complaints. Thank you.
James, be careful. Carol. James, will you get James, Carol?
I think it's like
Yes.
10:15 or something.
I can't see.
Okay, thank you, Philip. I'd like to go further. The court is a court. About a month or so ago, you appointed Carl as the liaison between the contractor, Boyd, and to report to the court, and I guess make recommendations. One of the first things Boyd did was asbestos abatement and did not seal the ducts properly. $50,000 worth of computers were destroyed. Carl said it could happen to anybody. But Boyd had a contractual obligation not to run those computers. And again, the taxpayers had about a $50,000 bill they had to foot. Kind of again, what is the bias? Are you working for Boyd or are you working for your precinct? Boyd has said, also brought about 2 different change orders. The very same contractor that sat in front of y'all and said, we're not going to have any additional cost when we tear off these wings. A change order for $26,000, and then another change order for $21,000. That the commissioners all realized the contract is a contract and voted against this, except for Mr. Hummel, who voted to give the money to the commissioner, to Mr. Boyd. Again, Carl, who are you working for? His performance has been, I think, irreprehensible. That he was also had to be removed for possible bad conduct as the liaison between Boyd and the court. He overstepped his authority, and I think possibly the day that Mr. Dockery, Mr. Busselman, and Mr. Gower were there seemed to be possibly a bad day on St. Bob. That's really all I had. Mr. Yarder has had some cancer treatment and had a letter from Ms. Stimson. I'm just trying to see if he's still there to continue. Is Betty and them out there, you know? Or did they leave?
He's on his way.
Mr. Stimson would be here. Mr. Stimson has been going through extensive cancer treatment. Very fine gentleman. And again, that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Yarder and let him proceed as such. Thank you very much, and apologize for this doctor's appointment, but I've had it for 2 months.
I understand, we don't have them.
He's always here.
He's unavailable?
Hmm?
He's not here today.
He should be here.
He was here just a second. Did you say he's coming?
I said that's going to tell you he was unavailable.
He was unavailable. Well, I guess that will conclude, and we'll have to get that administrator's comments some other time. We did have a letter from the Stimsons that I would like to read, but he has that.
I have a copy of it.
Oh, do you? Sure.
Well, Mr. Busselman.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give my copy to, okay. Oh, I got this hand.
No.
It's very short.
No, it's very short. Okay. From Beasley and Earl Stimson, Carl Hummel was our commissioner. Soon after being sworn in, Carl would answer his phone calls and answer questions. Early visited his office twice. The first time, question we were asked and answers were given. The next time a question was asked, Carl would not stop talking. He would not let Earl talk. So after a while, he got up and left Carl's office and has not been back. Beasley and Earl need a commissioner that can talk but also listen. Carl needs to learn how to listen because it can help in carrying out his duties as an elected official. Our group will be out there. We have quite a few. We will be looking at other alternatives for commissioner in our precinct. Again, Judge, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Utley.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. Come back to
I
number.
just saw Mr. Yarder walk
He
out.
just said he was unavailable, and I gotta move on with this agenda. We're gonna be here for days.
Go get him.
Number 5 is citizens to be heard. Carol, I'm sorry. Everybody had places to go. I had to get one to ACOG, doctors, and everything else. So can you go back and help me and give citizens to be heard?
We have 5.
You got 5? Wow, that grew since I saw you.
Mr. Deskin?
I'll defer until the entire court is here.
You wanna wait? I'm sorry, Mr. Deskin. We were trying to get Pete to ACOG and everything else. I apologize.